Hello everyone and welcome to today's live stream where I'll be going over a bit of what I did in this project to print a kind of muscle structure and stuff like that. And I'll try to go and make it a bit better because I'm working on another version. Though that one has had an interesting little hiccup, not because of the actual effect, but because I was trying to replicate the Holoactive Quad's UV projection, which was apparently much more difficult than I expected. But anyway, with this project, how does it work? Well, it's broken into three parts for simplicity. So to start off, this base mesh right here is split into a ton of squared off UV maps, as we can see here. These get normalized after the fact, so they fit in a 0 to 1 range, but the main concept is that these are all squared off. It's all kind of retopologized and all that, so that a tracer can run across the UV map for each island. So if we go and take a look at our printer tracer right here, it uses a ton of complex stuff. It's not the worst. Actually, no, it's pretty bad. But basically, this part is just a spline that traces across the UV map that we can see right here. We get the UV map, set it to be the position. I'm not using sample UV surface just because I find sample nearest surface to be a little more forgiving when it comes to errors and stuff like that. But I go and sample that based on the island index and a group ID, which gets shifted by time and all that. This is just the setup. It's complicated, I know, but it works well, and that's what matters. So it does that, and it traces along these UV maps. And then we go and store that as a transform. We go and modify that transform a little bit to interpolate between one island and the next, which we can see right here. It goes there, it goes across there, then it transitions to the next island. That's what this part is meant for. That has a custom easing function, which I have up on my Gumroad page for free if you want to pick it up. Which has all the nice easing functions and all that, and that makes it look nice and professional. But we go and do that, we separate the spline. There are two splines actually. One that's one step ahead, so that we can interpolate to the next one and all that good stuff. We go and mix between the two, put that as a combined transform and all that, and we store that as a, well, transform raw. It's not technically raw, but since it interpolates, it's kind of raw. It's fine, it's fine. I could go and rename that later. But with that, we then go and take the transform, and then I modify it. So in this case, I'm raising it above the surface using the normal, which is stored in the rotation. So as it goes across the UV island, it raises up, goes down, and then, you know, even when it transitions, it gets raised up again. So we do all of that with this nice little mixer right here. And then we go and make the data usable. Usable for other objects, because that's what's needed. We need to go and use this with other objects. So for the curve, I just use the transform to set the position of the curve, which technically isn't super necessary, but you get to see what's actually going on. So yes, it is necessary. And then we make one instance with a point on it. The point is kind of necessary. We just need an instance with the transform so that we can place an empty where that is. So in this case, with this printer empty, I have it so that it's targeting the printer tracer. It's looking for an instance, sample index 0, and it's looking for the instance transform. So with that, we transfer that transform data from a single instance to an empty so that we can that we can parent objects to this effect so that they can actually move along and work well. This means that if you, say, had a robotic arm, you could actually have a rig move around and do that, and not everything has to be contained inside of geometry nodes, which is very good for quite a few things. We could go and bake that out, do whatever we want with it. But now for the part that actually, you know, the main part of the effect, the actual printing of this surface. So with this, I go and make a little muscle fiber setup, or wait, what was this part again? Oh, right, I have two setups here. So basically, okay. So here, just to set this whole thing up, I move the surface up a little bit from the base right here, just so that there's no clipping. And then I split these parts based on the UVs so that there isn't like weird interpolation issues. If I go and turn that off, we'll go and see that things look a little bit messed up because the group IDs just aren't working. So I split based on the seam, which is this setup. I think Blender has an inbuilt version of this now, but I think I made that myself. But we set the position. Wait, why did we set the position? That's not even necessary. Not in this case. That part wasn't even needed. But then... Wait, we don't even need this. This must be a leftover. Yeah, that appears to be a leftover. So that part isn't needed either. We just need that and that. Oh, good. I get to clean up some stuff. That's why you review things later. But we go and store the island index as the group ID so that that part will be in sync with the tracer. And then we store the UV map as the UV position just so that we have an attribute that we know the name of later on. Not entirely necessary. And then I just go and do that. So this part, this could just be an applied mesh and it could just exist and it would be fine. But I just wanted it like this. And then ignore this top part. This is just to switch the mode so that I could print fibers instead of a surface. And that's just, you know, placing splines along the surface and all that fun stuff. But it's not super necessary. It's just what mesh are we actually printing. So once that's actually done, we go and deform the surface with the printer head. So here we go and get the printer tracer and we get that curve component. Then we go and just sample the first point in the curve to get the group ID and the time so that this actually knows where along the print it is. The print fraction thing there tells how far along the island it has progressed, and the group ID tells just which island it's actually on. So if you go and do that, it all syncs up perfectly. I should probably redo this because this is messy as hell. But we get the progression there, and then the progression will determine if it's mixing between the printer position and then its current position. Hopefully that made sense. But for the, oh, we don't need that part anymore, even though what we have here is either sampling the curve to get an interpolated matrix, or just sampling per point. But I would recommend the curve only for the matrix there. So either one of these are valid, but one is a lot more convenient than the other, so I'm just going to straight up remove that. So we'll go to, well, we will go and do that and that. Words, 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 words. My brain has been moving way too fast recently. And these projects are not exactly helping. But it's something nice to focus on. Even though my brain is going way too fast thinking about future problem right now, but we'll get to that. So that's how this prints. It could probably be simplified quite a bit if I were to go and remake it from scratch. But, as we can see here, it works quite well. And then for the materials, with this spotlight, you can notice that there is a nice colored ring effect going on, and that's just very simple. I have 3 spotlights overlapping, so it gives a nice iridescent look just by having 3 spotlights moving around. I hope in the future Eevee can support textured lights, which I think should, in theory, be possible. Yeah. Add a table of heads of different sizes and make it switch them to go between different islands. That is possible, but would be a lot more complicated. That would be more, it is technically possible. Though with the printer head, this part is just a visual thing. It does not actually, oh my gosh, the orientation. It does not actually affect anything else in the printing. I can completely remove it, completely delete it, and nothing else would matter. But in this case, it's just a surprisingly complex setup, if I'm being honest. To basically instance parts that go from the curve to a line like that, and the line scales, and it just makes it look like it's printing, of course. But that is the setup for now. And of course, as I showed previously, if I go to the muscle fibers, here, let me make this a group input so that I can switch between the two easily. It just needs a mesh that has the UVs and everything. So right here, the UV maps are going across and doing all of that, and it is just working exactly as intended. It just has the UV map and then the parts interpolate. These aren't even curves, this is just a mesh. So the curves were turned into a mesh and it works even beyond that. So that's quite good. But it still has the underlying UV map which tells which island it's on and so forth. Actually, let me take a look at that. It has a normal and the position, but oh right, that's controlled by, yeah, it has the group ID and the UV position. Those are the only two things that are needed for it to really print well. Oh, we can see some clipping there. That's avoidable, but it's okay. But yeah, that is good. I should probably flip these around because it's better the other way. But yeah, that is that. If I end up posting this on Gumroad, because this feels like a project that people would love to pick apart and see what's going on with it, I would probably remove some parts, like the option to make it actual like tubes and everything. It would just be this simplified. I think people would enjoy that. When I have a lot of time in my hands, I would go and do that. Because I have neglected I don't think I've posted anything on Gumroad on Gumroad in months. Just because I have been busy with projects that you will see very soon. Very, very, very soon. Yes. That is good. I like this project. It turned out quite well. Oddly enough, the part that took the most time was just making shaders that, you know, the shaders and the lighting, of course. As, you know, getting the iridescence to look right and everything, it was surprisingly difficult. Because I wanted a different look from the previous thing. Yeah. But again, oh, I forgot about that part as well. Whoops. The muscle fibers are not. There we go. So you could still print the original muscle fiber setup like that. And some people will probably prefer this. Actually, I should probably post this variant up online. Because if... Oh, no, I'll keep that in reserve in case I ever go through a content lull. Social media. You always love it. But yeah, you could print whatever you want. So, speaking of that, let's go and save this in its current state because it is good. And then move on to the next one. So, the next project I want to do, there's a little hiccup. But yes, right here we can see we have an actual skeleton. And oh, you can't see. Sorry. As we can see here, we have a hand skeleton. And I'm always fascinated with this part of the hand because, well, at least for me, I have just a little bit of carpal tunnel in my right hand because of, if I'm being honest, it's either from using the mouse every day of my life for a majority of the time for work or playing Hades 1 and 2. Either one. But, let's see. So this part, it's like the tendons going down and then the muscles there. I want to recreate that quite well. Let me go and get the reference image, actually. I've been taking a look at. On a side note, from Googling, let's see, where is there? Ah, here we go. Okay. So this part was very, it's not real. Don't worry, everyone. But yeah, the muscles and tendons of the hand, it's fascinating. Because, of course, the parts that move your fingers are not actually in the hand, except for the thumb part. They're in the forearm. And then you just have wires going from there to there, making all that work. So, it's muscles and tendons, and I'll need to print both of them. And that will be quite cool. If I can make it work well. But I ran into just such a little problem, a little stupid problem, which is I wanted this to automatically square off the UVs, because these are all quads, and I could do U reset, U follow active quads as I did with the last one, but I wanted it to be automatic, and I thought, oh, that wouldn't be too difficult to just go and do, even if the mesh is subdivided. I was wrong. I spent multiple hours trying to figure out how to do it. And it was a pain in the butt. And the way I figured out how to do it, it's not consistent with any like quad mesh, which sucks. And it doesn't have the length option, but it works okay in this scenario. So basically for this, if we take a look here, I square off I reset the UV, the cube UVs which I'm not sure if this will always be consistent because of ordering and all of that, but it should be okay. In theory. I guess I could just make something that just proceeds, okay, one face corner, the next face corner, the next face corner, the next face corner, and it always has to go in that order, I think. Because I'll need to look up how the topology works, because I'm not sure if, even with n-gons, the face corners are always in a kind of circular order. But anyway, I go and square off the UV maps, and then I get a gradient X and Y, or I use these squared off UV maps because these, which is not always the case, are always oriented the same direction because this is subdivided. This is not always the case because I extruded these parts and everything there. So if I were to extrude over there, oh wait, that's actually still oriented. That part's still oriented. There was something I did which made it non-oriented. But if I take the UV map and then use this to, let's get the viewer node out. So we have this, and then we could go and do this so that we get red. This is like, is that green or is that green and red? No, is that green and red? I don't know. But basically we get a gradient here, and because of the interpolation from face corners to vertices, these have different values. But basically, I separate a gradient on the bottom and on the side, which basically kind of just gives me the data that I need. And then I just go and find the shortest edge paths, which gives me a gradient from there up and then from there to the side. If we take a look at the UV map here, we can see that it just squared off UVs. Now it does not take into account the length of the UVs, which would be, or the length of the edges, but that's a whole nother problem. So we have that working right there, and then we normalize the UV maps using field min and max, of course. So what I probably could just use no, map range is the simplest. The simplest solution is the best. So that gives squared off UVs, which means that these are now printable with the setup. And also, the easier method is to just use curve to mesh UV, which is another setup that I have on Gumroad, on my free asset pack, and you know, all that fun stuff. But it gives you an accurate UV map for curves, which I wish wasn't there by default, but, well, I digress. We can use the length X and Y and all that. It doesn't handle the caps, but that is completely fine. I'm not going to worry about that. And actually, we don't need... Well, we could use the caps. But basically, once we get the printer, we can see that here, those curves just print. They print well, it's good. But if I were to go and get the other ones, let's go and switch the printer muscle thing. Actually, this is one part that I need to switch, because I need to switch out the printer tracer. Yeah, I should probably combine, if I'm being honest, the tracer and the muscle part, because they both find the same data. They both need the same object in the UV and everything there. So I could just have these as two node groups and just have it run there, so that would be easier to swap which object I'm actually printing. That would be good. That would be ideal. So I'll probably go and do that. You have the tracer and then that, but then again, what if I want to print multiple objects using the same thing? I probably don't want to, but it is annoying having these all decoupled. Or I could just store that data in a geometry bundle and call it a day. Yeah, no, I could do that, because we have that ability. I could just store all of these settings in the tracer in the bundle and then reference then another geometry. I could do that. Or I could do it all in one go and it would be even simpler. One object, everything just happens in there. Maybe that's what I'm gonna do. Just have all of this as a node group inside of the, the muscle part is inside of the tracer. Actually, wait a minute. Oh, right. Maybe I can't, because With this part... Actually, wait, no, this is dumb. Wait a minute, why is this not separated? I want the deformer. I want the deformer to be separate from, like, the muscle generation part. Oh. Dang, I forgot to, separate that. Okay, so let's go to the group, and, yeah, no, okay, this needs to be separated. And that means we won't need the tracer object in there, so printer deform. Then we just use the... Why did I think I could do that? Oh, that's funny. And I just need to put this in caps, printer deform, and then I could just go and yoink that out of here so that we completely decouple the... There we go. We decouple the actual muscle and then the deform part of it. So here, this is just, you know, the arm muscle, and then that does that. So, yeah. Okay, if I'm thinking about this again, maybe it would be best. Would that actually be best? Because right now we have a duplicate object. We have the muscle part right there, and then we have a duplicate object right there, which is just a copy, leaving the original unchanged. Which could make it, faster because it doesn't have to recalculate. But also... No, I think I should just apply, or put both of these onto here. Because I could do that. And then, what does this do? Oh, this is the, yeah, the tendon, like, curve to mesh thing. That one's special. So let me just try this. So that we don't have a loop happening. Oh, wait. That's the problem, isn't it? Since the printer tracer is yeah, no, I can't do that all in one go. Because that's referencing the original object. So I need the original object. And then my only other option... I don't know, maybe it's fine right now. I don't know. But anyway. So the main things I want to do today are to... add in a few more of these muscles, maybe make the lighting look good. But the main thing I want to actually figure out, which maybe I won't do it now because it would take way too long, is figure out how to do the project follow active quads projection. Because it was a pain. It was a pain. And even this method isn't great. It's okay, but it's not great. Will the JSON parser node be available on Gumroad? Maybe when 5.2 releases, because it's not a real JSON parser, because I don't know how to properly parse JSON, and Blender might not be the best, but maybe as an experiment, I'll maybe upload it. I do need to upload more things to Gumroad, because you know, I like putting stuff up on there. People do like donating whenever I put stuff up and everything, even if I don't put paid products up, because if I'm being honest, paid products, I'm not really a entrepreneur when it comes to that. I've seen a lot from Blender business people and all that. How do these muscles actually work? 1 second. So we have this muscle that goes up, squeezes down, and goes over there. Oh, they cross. Oh, that is fascinating. Oh, wait. Oh, that is fascinating. Anatomy is really beautiful, don't you think? So these parts... So that part goes from the tendon. Does that go from the tendon? Or does that attach to the... I'm assuming that attaches to the bone. And this guy is over on top of it. But that doesn't entirely make sense. Because this guy is attaching to there. Oh, that is something. Then we got that part that attaches to there, and then another part that goes up to there. Yeah, there are layers to this. Well, I don't need to get everything. I just want something that looks cool. But yeah, that is something to consider. So this middle part, both of these go over to there. Okay. So with this, both of these, that's the middle finger, right? A very expressive finger, I must say. That is a quote for the ages right there. Let's see, so that goes up to the ring finger right about there. Okay, so that is good. That is good. We go and do that, we do that, and I should probably make it, just because okay, let me combine more, oops, just hit the mic. Let me combine more of these parts, because I dislike having to constantly sharpen, or, yeah, let's just automate this process. That's the point of all of this. Subdivision surface, then edge, boundary is edge boundary, then edge crease. Looks decent to me. There we go. So yeah, just automating a few little things. That works out quite well. Let's go and scale this. So now I can just go and set that to be -1. So now I no longer need to worry about that. And I think, do I even want, no. We don't need this second edge, that's fine. The main thing I want is for these UV maps and all that just to be set up normally. Let's see. So something like that. Let me go and yoink you and put you over to here, and you over to here. So that goes up to there. I could go and shorten you by a bit more. So that part goes there, but then this part also goes up there. A very interesting display of anatomy. We have that and that. I'm going to copy this, move this around. So that goes more like that. That goes up to there and down to there. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So please ignore my terrible, horrible, an affront to science placement of these muscles. But again, this is just to make it look good, not to make it accurate. Because if I wanted to make it accurate, I would be making a lot more money in the medical science field. I've always loved medical visualizations and the like. I do, if I had a different career path, it would probably be in the medical visualization part. But 3D is quite nice, I must say. I get to build little thingies, little contraptions. So I could go and copy these in order to bring these over to here for this part. Yeah, I hope you all find this interesting. It's more of the modeling side, and I do quite miss the modeling side versus just working on procedural, not procedural stuff. This is more of, I don't know, making a little doohickey that prints out things. So I think that is okay. Not great, not terrible. Let's also go and save this, and then we have that go over to there, and then we have one part that goes from there up to there, so I could still do that. I'm worried about putting too many islands in there, because I don't want to make the animation too, much. Yeah, it should be fine. And that part goes up to there. That goes up to... Oh, they're almost overlapping. Fascinating. I'm saying that so much, but it really is fascinating how the human human body works. It is a fascinating machine. Fascinating machine. Could go and make that a bit bigger, because I think I kind of cheated a bit of the anatomy. Oh, because... Oh, no, I did that wrong. I did that completely wrong. That part goes down to there. Then that part goes over to there. Oh, yeah, no, I did that wrong. So let's go and delete this. So, yeah, that part goes... Okay. Maybe I could have copied it to make it a bit more reliable. And also splitting. Splitting is another thing that my printing setup can't really handle, which makes sense because how would you properly UV map a split like that and make it still function without the printer going completely out of whack? So there, and then you go here and here. Then you, I can raise up and have it kind of like this, because you go about there or maybe over to there. Human body is a fascinating machine. Then this part is a little bit wider at the bottom here. It's fascinating. Let's see. Blender's being mean to me. I hate instances. You and I do not share the same feeling about instances. I love instances. They are amazing. When I try to instance objects, they appear correct in the viewport, but when rendered, their positions change. Oh, that's weird. Never encountered that before in my existence in Blender. Then there are two muscles there, so this part should be split, actually. So that part goes up to there, and then that part goes down more to the center. Oh wait, no, I already did that. This part is just a little bit bigger than it should be. So that part goes to there and there. That part, yeah, that is moderately correct. And then I just need to duplicate you, put you there, and then one part over there. And then that should be most of the muscles of the hand. And then the ones on top go on the other side. Amazing to think that this structure is grown, but then again, I think that's the only way something like this could be manufactured. Because printing this, there are going to be a ton of collisions going around. I don't think there is a good way of setting this up unless you were to 3D print this kind of structure. That and that. Does that go over or under? That goes over. Okay. And then that part, I'm gonna treat that as... Oh, no, wait, I do need to. Because that goes there and there, because that's another closer muscle. So it's like that and that, right? Yep. It's fascinating. I'm learning so much. I'm just playing around and making a little cool projects. And then we have that and that. Let's go and save this because I do not want to lose this amount of work because this is, well, very cool. Also quite tedious. I give major props to whoever created this. But then again, they were probably paid quite a bit making it. Meanwhile, I'm doing this for free. Not complaining though, this is quite fun. Learning so much about the anatomy. Yeah, there's that, and that. So here we have most of the muscles going on there, even though I can go and move these over a bit, maybe make this one considerably wider. Yeah, there we go. So it's amazing, all of that. The hand is just the most useful part of our bodies, you know, besides our brains, because that's what interacts with all of the world. Well, then again, you know, the legs and all that are for transportation, the arms are for interaction, and then our brain is for processing. And then, you know, our center is just for keeping us alive and all that. But this is how we interact with most of the world. It is a fascinating thing. And these should not be pink. These should be white, and then the muscles should be pink. But if I were to go and set the material to be... Which material are you? Muscle fibers. I'm going to... Nope. Muscle fibers. Not entirely correct. Oh, right, I forgot. I wanted to put in something that would rotate the quad UV so that they're always going lengthwise. That's actually not too difficult to do. It'll just be a little bit less than convenient. As I need that, and then I need do a field min and max based on the island index. So with this part, what I need to do, get the total cost. This can be on the point domain, of course. Then I just need to multiply. Yeah, no, this is going to be inconvenient, but it'll be fine. And I'm pretty sure it goes like that. Then I basically need to copy this and then have it be there and there. This is not going to be great, but it's what I got to do. What I have to do. Then a greater than to mix between this and a swapped version of the X and Y. So this is just to make sure they all go lengthwise. So I need to just switch based on that. So if we do this, swap the two inputs, go over to here and take a look at that. We should see if this is just normal. Some parts are going lengthwise, that way it goes like that. And should this be a less than? No, this should be, that should be swapped, potentially. Yeah, I think that's how it should go. Now we just have a giant mess of wires going along here, so let's just go and do that. And then that happens. So it's still a mess, but it's not as, no, that's still quite bad. Let me just go and swap these around, because that makes it look a little bit less messy. There we go. So we have that and that. Not great, but not terrible. Then I can flip these two around, make this a less than, and then that should be decent. So it could be either way. Either way's fine. And that is good. That is good. And here I'm just going to put this. What are you? Okay. That, and then it does that. And how? There we go. And then, yes, we have all that. So the question is, what is with... Oh, wait, because it doesn't have a progression value. Actually, no. Wait, which material are you actually using? No, that's the copper. And that's that. And here, with the printer muscle, what material are you actually using? You're using the first one. You're using the first, okay. I should just have you like this instead. Even though it does switch between different parts, it should be fine. Let's just go and make sure that we don't have any lingering parts. Oh, little thing that I found out. When you do this, or wait, let me go and reset this. When you go and... Frick. When you go and change the... Oh, wait. Huh, I thought when you change the default, it would change what's in there. But it looks like I am incorrect. We have that. Is that screwed up now? I don't think so. Yeah, this could either be fibers or that. I still like being able to switch between those two. It's still useful to me. Though here, we do not need this normal offset because we're just going to be hiding the original anyway. That part is unnecessary. So once that's hidden, that does that and that does that. But we can also, because this is on the generation side, we can go and combine the muscle parts. So with here, the printer muscle, I can just go in and there's an option to use the self geometry, all of that, but I can join in another object, whatever I desire. So in this case, I'm going to add, I know this isn't the most procedural of setups and everything, but here we can see the, what? Oh, that's because this is not set up as, they have different UV maps, of course. So for this, I just need to change it so that you are just the UV instead of that. So, yeah, no, I probably should have... I'll just make a group input with the name. It's fine. I know I'll be duplicating this a lot, but it's moderately fine. Not the happiest with this. I could have said it. I could have combined all of this into one step, but it would have been super duper duper messy. I know it's doing multiple stores and all that, but it is fine. It is fine. Do not worry about it. It is good. UV. Oh, wait, that brings up another thing. Wait. Let's save this in its current state. That just reminded me of an issue that I saw. With this, I used the name UV for the UV map, but when I switched to cycles, things got screwed up. But if I switch it to UV map, I think it's because I forgot cycles. Let me just go and test this because I need to fix this now. UV map. Wait. Because I forgot that might be, if there are multiple UV maps, that might be the one that Cycles prefers. Unless in here. Yeah, it might be the active UV map. So I need to figure out why it's screwing up so badly. Because it can still, yeah, I can still print and all that. What's your story? UV map and then UV normalize. Like the genius I am. Oh, no, wait, no, there's multiple UV maps. I think I need to reset the file. Go. So yeah, I need to figure out why the hell that is happening. Why would it screw up like that? Because if I take a look at, because I know it's not you, you're fine. Let's go over to, yeah, yes. So the problem is this guy right here. This is just showing the entire UV map. And why is that? This should be the quadded out UV map. Both of these are just doing that. I don't understand. And same thing here. It's just showing that. Even though these are modified with geometry nodes afterwards. So if yeah, no, that is completely unaffected. So why the heck would that occur? They come from there, and then they do that. It's because I was right. So, oh crap. Shoot. Oh wait, that's actually really bad. Why would... That's really bad. Because... if you have multiple... Oh no. Because that means if you have a mesh that has the UV map with a label... Yeah, no, it completely ignores it if it has the name UV, but only in cycles. That's bad. Unless I'm missing something. Because UV is the standard in some places. That's gotta be a bug, right? Maybe it's... And we only have 3 days until 5.2. Now, this happens in other places as well. This is just... I'm surprised they would label it something so common. Or something that is... Or... It's surprising that we can't override it with geometry nodes. That's the concept of an active UV map is also interesting. Because I would assume... Yeah. That's funky. That's very funky. So, looks like... Oh wait, can I just, But no. I can't disable all of them, so I just need to I just need to rename the UV map that I'm using for all of these. That is not great. It's looking for the original instead of the one that I'm actively setting. That is... Can't override it with GeoNodes? Apparently not, because I am actively... Wait, am I actively overriding it? Yes, I'm actively overriding it. And it's doing... Even if it's reset, it's doing nothing. Because what it looks like is happening... Like, if I were to add in another UV map, label it UV, and then do that, we can see that, even though this is like a... Yeah, a UV map that's completely screwed up. It can be overwritten, but this overwrites it as well. This sets the UV attributes that's being... That is... I've run... Cycles is a little bit weird with this because... And this is why... Like, if this were a capital UV, it would be fine. Maybe that's what I'm going to do. I'll set it as just capital U, capital V. Because that's why, like, I forgot where it was, but color. If you have an attribute that's just labeled to color, Cycles uses an attribute that's just called color. So there can be naming conflicts, which is why, oddly enough, it's better to use variables with capitals, or attributes with capitals, so that you can't have a naming conflict in Cycles, which I think is going to be the solution in this scenario. It's not great, but it's apparently what I need to do. That is a major hiccup that I just don't need to deal with in Eevee. So if I do this... Let's go and update it so that it can work in both. So, Cycles. Just need to go and update every single one of these to use that new... the capital UV instead of the other UV. So that is not ideal. I do need to label those frames. That is a weird, very weird quirk. Checking around, making sure all that's good, and then here for the printed to form and the muscle fiber set, that's fine. I don't need to worry about any of that because I've already accounted for it. But in the original... wait, where... Ah, right, that is what is occurring. So we have that, and then UV normalize, and then I... Oh, right, that's the sorter. I don't need to worry about that. This just needs to be an old UV map, and then... Which is which? Okay, so this is, normalized. And I'm creating a new one because I don't want to... Original. Yeah, that's fine. And then all the... It's almost correct if I am correct. I just need to go into the tracer and then make that UV. So with that, that should be updated to the point where everything is working as intended. It just mirrors the depth of field a bit much. Oh, and then of course, for the frame part right here, that is quirky. Going to BlenderCon this year, I will be there at the Blender Conference this year. I will. And there's more to say about that in the future. Oh, I won't be doing a presentation though. Just not to get any of your hopes up. Even though it would be cool one day, but this time around I'm, like, well, I could yap about a ton of things. I am not in the mental state to do prepare a proper presentation due to time constraints and all that. But I know some people, very talented people in the community are, so I'll be looking forward to that. What happens when you change the domain? That'll make it not a UV map. because UV maps, by definition, need to be 2D vectors on the face corner domain. Anything else in Blender will not read it as a UV map. So to store UV maps, you just do that, which is why I made a little video explaining that. So hopefully people don't get confused by that in the future. But now that is working as intended in Eevee, and let's pick a frame that is not focusing on the backside. Let's see. Yep, that works. Oh, it's funny how the lights are very, very noisy compared to Eevee. But there we go. So we have that. That's all fixed up. So lesson learned, when dealing with cycles, use attributes with capitals, because they may be reserved for other internal things. Let's go back to the skeleton print right there. So there we go, we have that. Let's go and make this UV instead of UV. And then we got make quad UVs, and then here that's... Oh, and then... Oh, yeah. It's a new UV map. We go over to here. And then we make UV. I do like how this node can now read from the evaluated geometry, rather than just the original, because now it's GeoNodes compatible, and that is lovely. So we have U, and we have U as well. So over here, what are you stored as? And also, why do I store 2 of you? Probably for just an original, and then for a tracer one, I'm not entirely sure. And then for the tracer, I do need to make this better, so that it doesn't worry about anything else. So we have that, we have the printer muscle, which needs to use that as well. Printer heads, and then, yeah, the printer muscle here, they both have the same UV map, so that should work as... Oh, God. What the heck? Something is very incorrect. Printer tracer, yeah, you're just using... Oh, right, because it's... Yeah, no, I need to merge these two, so that it'll always use the correct arm muscle, because that's the problem right here. Problem here is that I'm joining this to that when that shouldn't be the case. So either... Because this isn't making the muscle that this is actually referencing. And I still don't want to combine the tracer with the muscle part, because that just... It should be separate. They should be separate, right? But that just leads into a weird quirk where I have a weird duplicate. Where this part should be... This should have all the treatment that I'm doing in printer muscle. And then the printer deform just happens after. So yeah, that's what I should do. Just make it so that... Oh, we're almost at an hour already. Yikes. Yeah. Sorry, what was I saying? Let's see, nowadays I do Blender a little less and focus on Houdini, and now Blender adds the Cloud Solver and XBPD Solver, but Houdini, Vellum, and Pyro, and has many more solvers. Yeah, Houdini will always be the GOAT when it comes to physics. Blender is entering the game. The XBPD Solver nodes are still experimental. They're still lacking things like self-collisions and other kinds of collision and stuff like that. But Blender is entering the space, because the technical requirements for such things required geometry nodes to up its management game by a lot, and it is very impressive how far it has come. And it still has a little ways to go before it's, a potential Houdini replacement. But at least for me, Blender does 95% of what I need to do. Have you played with the attribute outputs of the shader raycast node? I have. That's only a cycles thing, which is fine, but as I use Eevee mostly, I have kind of let that go by the wayside. Though, that is something for like the baking setup I need to work on. I need to take a look at, because that could be very useful for a custom baking setup, because Blender's default baking is a little bit behind. So yeah, I need to consider, do I just put the printer muscle node group in here and then attach it to there and call it a day? Because I could do that, so that'll just reference, let's see, if I do printer deform, so I just have this in here. Where is, oh, that's the label. I want you to be that. So here, what I want to do is get the group input, and this is probably the best way of doing this, where I have the UV map and then the template objects there. So we have this all here, so this will just do its job. Oh wait, but the group ID prep. Yeah, how does... Yeah, okay, so this is the one thing that needs to be done for the prep stage. The group ID. That's the one thing that we need to be prepared beforehand. Though then again, this could just go on the original geometry. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, that's the way to go. So this part, instead of going on printer muscle, which is now completely eliminated, we just go over to here and then do printer muscle, because this just prepares everything. So we use the self object here. There's no deformation that occurs. We'll default that to be true. This just doesn't need to be anything else. We just need, on the printer tracer, we just need to add in a group ID. So template group ID, and then maybe another panel for extras, yeah. So yeah, we have everything in there, and then we have that. So it'll create one duplicate. As we can see, it appears to be extremely broken, which I will need to resolve. So the question is, what needs to be resolved? It's just using that part right there, and it is tracing, but the tracer is not showing. Why is it not showing? Oh, because doy. And this is the tracer object, of course. And I just need to make this an override, I think. Or not an override, you know what I mean. Just need to switch this so that it'll have a geometry input. So here, this will be that, and then tracer curve, use tracer object, and then this will be tracer object. There. So on the management side, yeah, that is good. We need you right there. And then for the deformed geometry. Deformed. There we go. Typing, need to get better at that. So that'll be our template object. Which, yeah, that part's fine. And then that goes in there. So with everything like that, does that occur? No, still not. Wait, am I doing this incorrectly? Deform geometry is up top, and then that one's on the bottom. So yeah, that should... Oh, of course, because it's not actually using the curve, the one thing that's actually needed. So that is good, that is good. So yeah, we have that, and now we can see that part is now working as intended. So now, while it is a little bit annoying, well, actually no, this is the best scenario. We just have the printer tracer and everything, but we still have the curve and the point for everything else. So that's fine. Are you looking for... Oh, let me catch up on the chat. In 5.3, we also have a raycast ray visibility in the object visibility options, which is really cool. I think that's in 5.2 if I'm correct. Yeah, raycast, we have that option here, which is very nice. Which is very, very nice. And this is, yeah, 5.2 release candidate. We can do muscle simulation in Blender using the new clot solver. Kind of, though it doesn't have self-collisions, which is quite limiting when it comes to muscles, because muscles like to be close to each other, and if they overlap, things aren't quite as good. So individually it can kind of happen, but you kind of need the self-collisions. Which, well, I've seen people kind of implement that in the printer tracer, the group ID. You need to have an option to derive from tile, so that you can just have a UV map set up, and then it'll derive the group ID from that. But this is complicated enough. And for the curve, I could just go and put you in here as well. Yeah, that's fine. And then what should be first? Well, it doesn't matter because these are all separate components. That's the thing. It needs to print a mesh, and then all the other parts are just up top. I think this is the most ideal form factor. For better or for worse. And then this just sets up the group IDs and stuff like that. Yeah, and this part is not like super duper necessary. This could be whatever I desire, which is good. So if I do a group input and then just switch it. Oh. Why are you failing? Why are you failing? Oh, because these, it doesn't have the group IDs, right? Yeah, because the group ID is not derived from there. You know, actually, wait. You know, why is it not, is it because the UV is not matching? The group ID should be there, but is it trying to read like a UV position? Oh, and that part isn't needed either. Yeah, that's fine. We don't need you either. That part gets simplified. What's your problem? It's looking for a group ID, which does not exist. Actually, no. It's looking for the mesh island, which is derived from there. So yeah, no, that should be fine. So what is it? Because it's looking for a UV map that doesn't exist. And also you need to be UV, not UV. And that. If I were to switch... Oh, okay, no, it does work. The UV map was just wrong. There, the UV map, I'll just go to there and there. That will be good. Here, make sure, yeah, that's the other one. So it needs to be capital UV. That is still so incredibly quirky. But anyway, let's go and join our secondary object into here. Honestly, I'm going to remove the muscle object from there and remove that one because we, to put it simply, don't need it. Don't need it. Because this is not involved with the printer side. It's not an actual part of it, it's just an approximation. So here, it'll go and print the tendons and then the muscles, which I would need to set the order. You were a science student, right? That's why your physics and math are so good? No. Quite the opposite. My education was quite poor. Very, very poor. I did not go to a good school. So everything I learned, it was from curiosity and obsession, I guess. An obsession. And also, oh. Uh-oh. That is, that should not be doing that. Why is that doing that? But also, that shows that our little make quad UVs needs to flip. That it'll go, yeah, lengthwise, so that at least looks like it's doing that. Let's go and reset the normals, so that hopefully... Yeah, the normals are, oh wait, that's because there is no normal. Because for these guys right here, this muscle setup, I go and store a, normal attribute because if I go and accumulate the normals and all that, it doesn't work out well, so I just need to go and store another normal on those muscles, but it's not. Yeah, I'm just gonna go and store it here. This will just be N2, was it? Vector points, yeah, this just needs to be the normal map. So now, yeah, it will, what is wrong with, oh, are the UV maps inverted compared to what it should be? Oh, that one's fine. Maybe it's the UV setup just being crummy. Let's go over to the tracer. Because oddly enough, like, look, the tracer besides you... Oh, right, because I was working on the interpolation, which we're not going to worry about right now. The height. Right, this part. This is the offset control. So here I need to make this a group input so that I can control how high this will be printer, yeah. So this will be height, yeah. Raised height, that kind of makes sense. And then the UV map. Yeah, that goes into there. So we have that, and that. So this will be the printed object. And this will be the printer tracer. Printer tracer. Yeah, we have all that in there, and that works out well. So yeah, the raised height I'm going to reduce significantly. Now we have all that, and I can hide the original muscle part right there so that we can have all that going. So here with the tracer, because we reduced it to one object, this object does not need to exist. Oh, that's so much better. That is so much better. God. So I'll need to update the other one to make it even simpler. Yeah, no, that's good. We just have the one that does everything. And then this one. And then we just have this node group in there, which you can go inside and take a look at. It's actually not that complex. So yeah, no, it should be just that. We just have the data on one, and then we do everything on the other. Which means I could just apply this printer tracer on the original part there, but it's good that I can swap it out so easily. Because I have more parts I can do this on. So the speed, let's set this to be 1. So each one will take 1 second with 1 more second to do the interpolation. Now we have all of that, and it is beautiful. Look at all of that. Just going and printing all the muscles. That's so much simpler. It's beautiful. Alright. Alright. And that part goes over there. I'll need to move that. But we can see that's working well, and then I could always sort which part goes first, or just offset where they begin, which could be good. But yeah, sorting which island goes first, that could always be implemented after. I could also put that into this as well. Yep, and there it goes. It's printing, it's convenient, it's nice. And I could speed it up even further. Though I still don't know why this one is freaking out as much as it is. Like, it's twisting around in ways it really shouldn't. Go to the printer heads, and we're already separating only the components that are necessary. I do still need to really clean that up, but that's more of just for display. It's not tied into the actual effect, just a visual thing. But why is it twisting? That should not occur. So yeah, just the printer heads, the printer tracer, that's all good, and we still have the printer arm connected. But also, I forgot to show all of you this. There's another thing I can do here. So let's go over to the full skeleton. Oh wait, I do have, yeah, the full skeleton. And I have a couple things right here, a couple muscles. So I could go and do some things there. Let's go and swap you out with you. So that's the dream, isn't it? It's that simple to make it do. And then the group ID. Do I just have that procedurally set everything up based on... Yeah, I could set it up strictly based on... Yeah, we can simplify that. So here, the group ID is based off the island index. Oh, wait a minute. It's based on the island index and not actually the group ID. This one is the only one that actually uses the group ID. So either I need to do that, or I need to just... Here. Okay, we gotta modify this just a little. So here, why I don't like... I'm just capturing the attributes and then bringing them... I could just... We're going to store the group ID for you here. And then, yeah, we're just gonna port this. And then I'll have an option if the group ID doesn't already exist. Then do that, yeah. I could make that work. But yeah, with that, we're going to just put this, route this all the way over to there, which is atrocious, in my opinion. And I need to split this up now. So I think I'm just gonna go and portal more of the values here because I highly dislike the look I'm getting here. Yeah, no, I highly dislike how messy this part is. So unless I want to, do I really want to store more at it? It's fine. It's clear if I store it, I can just portal the stuff. We don't have the portal node, so we're gonna use this. Position. No, this needs to be position 2. And this will be normal. 2. So we just go and store these there so that we can portal the values across space and time and not have to worry about everything else. So we have that, and that. We just have the prep. That greatly annoys me. And then here we just need to go and get that portaled data. Is that the normal or no? That is correct right there. So that, and then we just get all of the attributes we store and put them there. So I'm just doing this to make it cleaner, if I'm being honest. Just doing that to make it a little bit cleaner. And this part we're just gonna put there so that we have more room for there and there. And to be honest, I'm keeping these separate, but I could combine these as well, even though that feels very wrong. I mean, if it works, it works. It's just referencing the attribute on here and the attribute there. So it's fine. It's fine. It's terrible, but it's fine. So this one is surface prep. And this is sample surface. And the sample position is this guy's position, which I need to modify. There are more things that need to be done. So this is sample position, which I could just port directly into there, but I think that would be less than ideal. This part right here, yeah, we need to put more stuff there, and then this guy. Trace time, yeah, that's fine. Trace splines. Second is for interpolation. Tracer splines is for group interpolation. And then, yeah, these parts, I'm just gonna go and remove that from there for now, because this is to interpolate between the different phases. And I will need to look into that. Let's see. Then that's fine. So we have that and that. I am still very greatly annoyed at... and yeah, we'll just put you at the bottom of this, even though it doesn't matter. We're joining components, and then that's the tracer curve. And I'm just gonna put the tracer curve first. Even though if I wanted to use the input, yeah, no, oh, that sucks so bad. Oh well, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just that I need to portal that. It's okay. It's okay. My soul's not being split in twain right now. Then normal 2, and then there's the custom normal, right? I can put that into a nice little frame, put that there. I think this setup is working quite well. And here we don't need a custom normal, I don't think. So here, and let's set the speed to 1 again. We can see here that it's all, it's printing. I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. And switching out the objects is quite easy. Just one click and then it'll swap what thing it's actually printing. Brilliant. I love it. You love to see it. Then here, I just need to go and... Oh dang, why is that so far away? Yeah, no, that's how I designed it. So yep, there we go. That's everything there. And the only other thing I need to... Sorry, one second, my arms are sore. I can eliminate the group ID because it no longer needs to be implemented there. So this entire section is no longer necessary. What's so... Oh yeah, no, this entire section is not necessary anymore. Though the pre-existing group ID, I need to implement that. The tracer, this is getting more robust by the second. Let's see. Yeah. So the group ID, I need to go and swap you out. Let's see. Use group ID attributes. Another thing I did not consider is that, actually no, if they're different islands, then they have to be different UV islands. Quite rare. Yeah, no, that'll probably be fine. There are still scenarios where I can screw up. Maybe I'll just make it so that... Yeah. We'll just go and do this so that we can... Yeah. That'll be fine. So there should be a group ID. Do I manually switch to... Yeah. I'll have a switch for custom group ID. Group input. This will be custom group ID. Oh, that's new. Custom group ID. Then that'll just be that. Some group ID, we just go and put that into there. Now, maybe it would be better if it just auto-generated. Wait a minute, where's that being used? Control F, group ID. Input group ID, and then where are you? Ah. We don't need you anymore. Because that is just automatically going to assume that it'll have a group ID to pull from, because it will. All it needs is the UV map, which... Yeah, finding the UV map there is fine. Still... Okay, good. That's good. Yeah, and I could go and put those into the extras. Custom group ID, custom normal, that's good. Maybe I'll even throw in a custom tangent, because that could be good as well. But we're making this a proper asset. Now with that, I think it is time for me to go, because this worked out well. I'm happy with it. I'm quite happy with it. I just need to go and fix up some of the parts here. I need to go and hide these parts in like a new collection or something. Yeah, let's go and put these in another collection, new collection. Yeah. Arm hidden. Let's go and just put that into there. We'll put the... Nah, that's fine, because that's a different hidden part. So this part, we have those UVs, and then that UV as well. All that is doing what it should. And it's combining the two parts. Oh, and there's no material, of course. Also fibers, but why is that looking so different? When it really shouldn't. Is there a different thing going on there? Is it setting it to be different in post? It should be. Yeah, this is starting to just get complicated because of, well, the different fragments I'm joining into one object. To be honest, could all be the, you know, the splines like that. It could all be that. And then I can just reduce the radius. Honestly, I don't know why I'm doing that there and not over here. It makes so much more sense to just multiply this part than this one. So I'm just going to set this to be 0.1 so that I can get a little more fine-tuned control. Oh, maybe we need to reduce that even more. 0.01. So we got that. And that still works. Even though, as we can see, it is freaking out. Is that because the custom normal is not being applied? I think so, or... Why? Oh, wait, I think I know. It's because... Yeah, okay, I know why. It's setting these curve UVs to be UV, which should not happen. Those UVs should be very, very different. So it should not be that one. Okay, that did nothing. Why is that freaking out when it comes to that? Is it because there's no base UV for it to trace? Is it because I decoupled the original thing? It's like, oh no, I know why that's happening. It's looking for a regular surface to print. And then it wants to print this. So I know this is getting very, very annoying in terms of how complex it is. But if I wanted to print out another object and then have a base template object, yeah, no, okay. I'm not gonna worry about this part right now. I'm just not going to. I would just need to add in another input for, yeah, the other thing. Though maybe I can make it so that it handles these kinds of objects. But there would be gaps in the middle of the UVs as well, which is why that's occurring. If I did it spline by spline, it wouldn't be bad. But at least for the time being, we need to retire the individual muscle fibers. Unless we want to generate them on the fly. Unless we wanted to generate them on the fly. Yeah, at least for now, it just has to print normally. But let's go to the shader, because we're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. Let's go to the printer tracer. I don't want to do a material override. I want to go over to view. This is muscle fibers 2. Muscle fibers 2. So what is your story? What is going on with you? They both have the same UV map. But for some reason, they're just having a very... that's why. That is why. UV is 0 because there is no actual progression. Wait, does it store the progression? It should. Right? Oh, is it not storing the progression there? Wait, let's go, no, not new. I need to muscle fibers 2. I know that's there, so that should be fine. It always goes back to you. Okay, that explains a lot. The UV versus UV issue. Ghosts. Haunted by ghosts. But now, as we can see here, it is now printing, maybe the wrong style of muscle fiber I was hoping for, but it is printing them. I gotta reduce these to be more needly. Let's go over to here and make these extremely... Oh wait, these ones are so... Oh. That's the wrong one. If only I labeled these. Let's see. This will be, cross support. That is, yes, that is indeed the cross support. These are, instances. Yeah, these will be, printer heads. Printer head instances. Yeah, that's fine. That, let's go and put that into there, and then we just need to reduce that there to be pretty much needles, because that makes more sense, right? Printing the needle, and they don't go perfectly. Oh wait, no, that's fine. But yeah. Now I would just need to really zoom in the camera to make it more... oh, wrong camera. Wait, what? Camera 04. There you are, okay. There we go. So now, if we look really closely, I need to edit the shader. So yeah, making the original effect is fine, but the cleaning all this up is really something, isn't it? Here we go. So yeah, I just need to work on the lighting, this and that, and maybe have a better muscle material. Maybe I should have a material override for the muscle. That could be good. And I just need to potentially decouple the template and the actual thing that's going to be printed, so that I could still have all the fibers doing that. So that I can have a flat thing that prints and then the actual object that is printed. That is printed. That could be good. That may be a little bit too complex. The lighting I'm not too happy about, but it's fine. I also think it's printing perhaps a little bit too slowly, so let's go and speed it up. 1.5 or 1.5, let's do that. Is that fast enough for, and oh right, one more thing. I need to make it so that there is a limit to how far it can print. Because once it's done printing, I'll just go to 0, 0. But I want it so that it'll actually stop where it's supposed to. That won't be difficult. I know how to do it. Let's see. So let's go into here. I should do this off stream because the stream is getting a bit long. All I need to do is set a maximum value to our time here. That's all I need to do. Or wait. Yeah. The time just needs to be limited. The original time or the post? Line ID, I don't need to worry about that because that's for the auxiliary printer. I need to keep that around, so I just need to throw a maximum onto here, or minimum. And it could be a smooth minimum. Here. This will limit it. So here, it'll only print 5, and then I'll just stop. What? I thought I said 5. Is that because of... Because I divide it by 2, then add to there, and then... Oh, does this just need to be even? Oh, okay. So maybe I need to change this a little bit so that each cycle is one thing there. So here, this we don't divide. Yeah, okay, that's how it should have been originally. We could always go and slow it down later. But this part, the time should just be in there, and then... Yeah. Each cycle does the thing. So each unit is just that, and then we split the units. Sorry if you heard a loud car outside. I could divide it by 2 afterwards, because there are 2 segments. I think this is fine. Each second, I'll do a complete thing. And I may just set this to be divide instead. So that I'll take 2 seconds to complete each one. Second to do something. 1. Wait, is it? Oh wait, I think each segment is 1 second when I do this. Oh yeah, no, I think that's actually okay. Alright, so I guess that simplifies stuff. Okay, so let me check again. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it stops. It stops right before the next interpolation segment. So maybe I should interpolate first. Maybe I should just swap which order this happens. Maybe. But what I have here is fine. I could just set that to be 0.5 and it would be good. Yeah. Because this would conversely mean that I would start out interpolating from 0. Actually, no, I do need to swap this around. Where it'll print first, or interpolate and then print. I'm getting in the weeds. Let's not worry too much about that. But what I do need to worry about is how many group IDs there are inside of this, using an attribute statistic. So here we got that and that moving around there. And all I need to worry about is how many group ID, the maximum group IDs. So I need to use an attribute statistic, referencing the group ID, of course. And that'll just say, hey, how many How many groups are there? Just get the maximum and that'll be your limit. Yep. Did I accidentally? Yes, I did. So now it will stop itself. Two, three, four. Ah, and I need to add 1. Or add 0.5. So that it'll just do that and not try to interpolate to, yeah. Add 0.5 so that it'll just end there and not need to interpolate to 0. But if I throw in a smooth minimum, this one will go and then... yeah, slow down. Nice. So it won't just, yeah, do that. So, yep, just a few little things right there. That's good. It's the time control. Not bad, not bad at all. So now I just need to make it look good by potentially swapping out the material. So arm muscles, let's go and switch this to be muscle fibers 1. Why does it look like that? Why does it look... oh, wait. Because the UV on... yeah, the UVs on both of them just don't look right. On the arm muscles right here, I should probably throw on another UV unwrap. Here I'll just have that, and then I'll throw on a simple UV map. This will be face corner, 2D vector, and then UV unwrap. But oh, another funny thing, with minimum stretch you can set this to be 0 and I'll turn the UV map into a perfect circle. Or a circle with minimal interpolation, but I'm going to set this to be just 10 so that I get something like that. So now it's just a UV map that looks like that. Well, maybe I do want the normalized one. Actually, wait a minute. Which UV is this? All right. Yeah. Okay, so I didn't really need to do that, but I'm gonna just do it anyway. Because in muscle fibers, that is the incorrect one. No, that is very much the incorrect one. Or no, wait, is it? Oh no, that is the right one. Okay. Let's go and I don't know why I had UV position. We don't need that. Just need UV. Then yeah, you could be UV as well. Well, then we'll just be that, and then boom, we have everything there, and then also you. There we go. Now we have something that looks relatively correct, I'd say. There we go. And then I'll just need to have another little thing for the tendons so that they look a little bit different. I'll need to edit the bump because this is very, 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 very zoomed in. Actually, no. That stays consistent. I go and do this. There we go. Yep, and that's not bad. It could be a little bit better. Especially if I were to fade the geometry. It's fine. It is fine. Why does the new Blender have a transfer attribute node? Transfer attributes is very, very good. It's basically like sample index, except really on steroids, I guess, where I'll transfer everything, and you can go and change which kind of source and target IDs exist. So it's a much more it's a bit different than sample index, but it's very useful if you want to change topology and stuff like that. Let's see. Hello, tip for someone who tried to learn Blender for 2 years, bought courses around 2k euros. Oh, wow, but never finished a tutorial. I tried to push myself, and wait for the new 2.5 Blender version. I would say it sounds like you, as someone who learned Blender without buying a single course, you don't need courses to learn Blender. I need to be careful with how I word this. If you're spending money and hoping the more money you spend will make your education a little bit better, all the information you need is out there for free. If you're buying a course for a specific thing, that can be good. But if you're buying courses to learn Blender, I don't think that's the best idea. I think courses are for you when you want to specialize on something and you want to see how a professional does it. But if you want to just learn Blender to the point where you're fairly comfortable, there are more than enough tutorials over the years to learn it there. If you want to learn geometry nodes, I think most of the stuff that you need is out there for free. I myself haven't bought a geometry nodes course. But then again, this is my job. My job is geometry nodes to an extent. Like, not all parts of my job need geometry nodes, but the stuff that does need it, pays quite well, I have to say. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that part's okay. Maybe I should just use this stand-alone camera. Maybe that'll make it look a bit more cinematic. Just go and pull it. I'll need to redo all the lighting and stuff. This was just fixing up a lot of the issues with the printer setup. But yeah. But somehow I don't start doing stuff. I think that's more of just a motivation problem. Like, I've had that somewhat recently. You can't force let me restart that thing. That sentence. You can't force yourself to like doing things creatively. If you have to do it for work, then you have an excuse, and then, I don't know, for me, if I have to do something for work, even if I dislike it, it's just like, oh, I'm getting paid for it, so I'm good. But, yeah, if you spend over $2,000 in euros, I don't think money is the problem there. I don't work in 3D as a job. Okay. I think that's more of a motivation issue. Well, with me, I like tinkering. I don't have like original characters that I want to put in a world and do all of that. I mean, not that I would post publicly. But what was I gonna say with that? But I don't really operate on the, oh, where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a world in my head that I really want to get out there, and I'll do anything to do it. I don't have that motivation. I've helped other people make their worlds, and stuff like that, and get those on the big screen and everything, which I do enjoy. But I like the tinkering. I like making little gadgets and stuff. And then for stuff that is maybe a bit more narrative, that's my personal work. That never sees the public eye. I'm an engineer, but I like this 3D thing. Oh, yeah, I would assume engineering is, especially with the procedural side, like Houdini, geometry nodes, I assume that those are kind of in line with each other because they're very math-based, very procedural in a sense. But that sounds more like a motivation issue rather than a learning issue. Because if you're motivated, like I am, you will learn a lot just to get something working. Which motivation issues, I do not know the answer on how to make oneself motivated. Because I myself have trouble with motivation at times. There are just times where no matter what I do, what is up with the camera? Oh, I keep moving the camera. I forgot to unlock it. What was I going to say? I need to make this a cinematic angle and all that. There are days where I'm just like, I just can't do Blender today, outside of work, obviously. I just can't bring myself to do anything. Which that's probably caused by outside factors, of course. Oh wait, that looked better. Maybe the bloom is the problem with something this close to the camera. So let's kind of just generally kind of reset the lighting a little bit. Maybe make it a bit general. Rim, oh, that part looks good, but the rim light is working a bit too hard right there. Move it forward just a little. I want to get all the highlights there. It looks, yeah, like that one looks good, but we just need another one. Is this, no, it's a point light, so I can just move it around just fine. Yeah. But in terms of motivation, you need, I guess what helps me is you just need to find something that you want to exist no matter, something you want to create no matter what. And then you just go with that. Find an obsession, something you're obsessed with. And then go from there. No, that one's a little bit too much. And then I just need to, yeah, for the skeleton here, I need to add in just a little bit of warble. Like real skeletons, they have just a general warble to them. Bump. Little fine warble. But yeah, if you struggle with motivation, nothing can overcome that in my experience. If you can't create anything that day, you just can't create anything that day, and you just have to wait for the next one. And if you try to push through, you will burn out. That's just what happens in my experience. There are days where you just can't do stuff, and you just deal with it. You just deal with it and move on. Next day's the next day. Go to the movies, go and do something. Just do something else. And that helps a lot. Bones have a little bit of subsurface scattering, but I think I'm overdoing it a bit. In Eevee, the subsurface scattering doesn't look as good as Cycles, obviously. I don't know. Maybe the softer look. Well, bones aren't skin. Oh, that looks bad. I make it just a lot like that. Oh, yeah. Bones have a different kind of layout, so I'm thinking, yeah, a little bit more like that color. No, I'm gonna need to edit that. Let's see. But I guess, let's see, if I had to, you know, just armchair advice right here. If you're an engineer and you want to try some Blender stuff, try bringing some of your CAD models, if you have them, into Blender and see what you can do with them. Now, bringing CAD models into Blender is a process in and of itself. I have been paid a good amount to take CAD models and fix them, spending weeks and weeks sprucing up and cleaning up CAD models so that they're ready for various applications. But, you know, you can always just material them procedurally and then just rotate the CAD model of a gear or something. They don't need to be perfect for exporting. You don't need perfect UV maps. Just take something you're passionate about and you want to exist and then do that. And if there's nothing there, then there's nothing there. You can't force yourself, even if you spend a lot of money. I think I need to raise the height a bit more. Just make it a little more like that is good. I think I also need to pull a little alpha trick. And I've done this before. I need to reduce you a bit, set you to be more like, whoa, never mind that. A little bit more like that. That feels a little bit better. Yeah, not too detailed. Let's see. Yeah, it's okay, but I think I need to go and add in a little bit of variation there. Either to make it transparent when it gets close to a surface, or something like that. We have that. It's just going through and printing. I think 1.5. Should probably rename that to print time, segment print time or something like that. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. And then I could always, I'm already in there, right? I could always just desaturate all this to give a very clinical look at this. And that's right there. Yeah, the UVs do look different compared to everything else. But yeah, I just need to find some better lighting. If I turn off the compositor, yeah, I just need to make the lighting look better. I will figure it out, because that feels too aimless. Rim lights make everything look better, but for some reason, it doesn't seem to be doing it. Oh, that does add to it. It does. Lessen it by a bit, set the compositor to always. Maybe I just need to turn off the bloom so that I don't get this kind of 90s feel to it. Maybe a little bit of volumetrics, or I just render it like this. What I'm still confused by is why that one part would print, like, inverted. Why would it print inverted like that? It doesn't make sense to me. Not make sense to me. And then, yeah, I still need to figure out the template object. Then it slows down to nothing, which is good. And that is a hand. And there's more tendons and stuff I need to do, but it's okay. Alright, we're almost at 2 hours. I went severely over time, as I tend to do. But I hope you all enjoyed. I think most of this turned out fairly well. And I just need to fix up a few little things and it should be good. Now it seems like the UV maps are having some, I'll look into that. Sometimes I'm just stuck progressing, not because of motivation, but because lacking knowledge of certain things, like that one time I didn't know Blender uses radians internally. Yeah, that kind of stuff just comes with time from just playing around and stuff like that. Don't worry too much about it. But yeah, so the project is basically done a few little things to fix, like making it so that the multiple splines per islands can work, which I just need to go and make it so that I can use a template object, or I'm already using a template object, but having other deform objects, that could work well. But that's simple to add. I'll just do it off stream. But thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.